Prosecutor requests prison sentences in Lisbon case. Police force of St. Martin arrests suspect in connection with multiple robberies. MP Egbert Doran gives his view on the Melissa Gums. Minister of Education. Minister tackling swears in local and Suriname. Correctional officers to strengthen prison operations. From the island, St. Martin. This is SXM Daily News for March 10th, 2026. Former member and Chairman of Parliament RB, together with co-suspects JD, RDS, and SG, are before the Court of First Instance this week following an extensive investigation into alleged bribery involving the former MP and Chairman of Parliament. RB is suspected of asking for and accepting bribes during his tenure as an MP, and in part during his time as Chairman of Parliament. The co-suspects are alleged to have paid the bribes. The prosecutor has requested prison sentences ranging from 12 to 24 months. In addition, the prosecutor has requested that RB be disqualified from holding public office for a period of 5 years. In addition, the prosecutor has demanded that RB repay a total of US $52,090.35 in unlawfully obtained. The Lisbon investigation was started in February 2023 by the Kingdom Cooperation Team, RST, under the direction of the Central Team of the Attorney General's Office of Curaçao, St. Martin, Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba. It is in the interest of St. Martin society that there is clarity about the alleged corrupt conduct of a person who is part of the public administration. For a well-functioning democratic society, it is essential that residents have confidence in their government. Official corruption is a phenomenon with many manifestations and does mainly occur at the interface of public and private interests. Corruption can permanently disrupt a society. It damages the integrity of the government and leads to trade and false competition. For those reasons, the Central Team takes signals of such corruption extremely seriously and, if necessary, has an in-depth investigation carried out. Officers of the police force of St. Martin, KPSM, arrested 2 individuals in the early morning hours of Sunday, March 8, 2026, after responding to a report of a suspected gunshot in the vicinity of Airport Road near Kimsha Beach. During the police control, 2 firearms were encountered and confiscated, and additional suspected narcotics were also discovered. At approximately 3:35 a.m., officers of KPSM responded to a report received by the Police Dispatch Center regarding a suspected gunshot heard in the area of Airport Road near Kimsha Beach. Further information received from dispatch indicated that the suspect vehicle was believed to be a grey Volkswagen Polo. While patrolling in the Kimsha Beach parking area, officers were subsequently informed that the vehicle had been seen parked in front of an establishment close to PJIAE Airport Road. Upon arrival at the location, officers observed the vehicle parked, and 2 individuals were seen in and around the vehicle. Officers immediately instructed the occupants to show their hands and exit the vehicle. Both individuals complied with the officers' instructions and were separated while officers conducted further investigative procedures. During the arrest and subsequent search, officers also discovered a small plastic bag containing a white substance resembling cocaine and a pill resembling ecstasy on one of the suspects. Additionally, a black inside holster was found in the possession of the other suspect. The suspected narcotics will be tested and weighed, and the results will be documented in a separate report. The firearms and other items were seized for further investigation. Detectives from the KPSM Forensic Department later processed the scene and took possession of the firearms as evidence. Both suspects were transported to the Phillipsburg police station, where they arrived at approximately 5 a.m. for further processing and to be presented to a prosecutor. The police force of St. Martin, KPSM, has arrested a suspect believed to be involved in a series of robberies that took place in the Coal Bay and K-Bay areas. On Tuesday morning, officers carried out an operation at a residence in K-Bay where the suspect, identified by the initials DFH, a 27-year-old male, was arrested. The arrest follows an ongoing investigation into approximately 7 robbery cases reported in the Coal Bay and K-Bay districts. This suspect is believed to have been robbing different establishments in the aforementioned areas since October 2025. This investigation is being carried out by the Special Robbery Unit of KPSM, which has been working on several robbery cases reported in these districts. The suspect is currently being held for questioning as detectives continue their investigation into these incidents. Authorities have not ruled out additional arrests as the investigation progresses. KPSM emphasizes that investigations into serious crimes, such as robbery, often require time, patience, and detailed investigative work. However, the police force of St. Martin wishes to make it clear that officers remain fully committed to pursuing those responsible for such crimes. Featuring more inside government TV program Hair Stories 2026, we are the True Roots program, or soon to be True Roots Foundation, that really started behind the idea of reducing hair discrimination that has been taking place within the schools, but I think for many, across the board, not only with schools, but within society, workplaces or institutions, and so on. The second series.
Mr. Gums, I think you touched on quite some important elements, and combining all those together, I believe to some extent that in itself birthed things like discrimination or being stereotypical in how we see things and approach things, and basically how we create our rules around certain environments. So in conversation with Kyra, of course, from that perspective, I know she has a question that she would like to ask the youth.
Yes, so it seemed like it stems from a place of control and suppressing identity. And now on this journey of reclamation through connecting to your hair, have there been any moments where your hair made you feel proud of who you are or proud of your culture? This is for the youths. So yes, yes, yes.
A moment I felt proud of my hair. I would look back on the year 2023 when I was very heavily involved in pageantry. My coach at the time made it very adamant that I went through the pageant with my natural hair. So no wig, no extension, no braid. I was very upset about it. And she was like, yes, yes, yes. I was like, no. No, and she made it a point. She was like, no, you're going to do it with your natural hair. I'm like, what? And you know, in pageantry, you have these big, beautiful, elegant dresses. Everybody's like, the whole point is to be elegant. And she's want me to go up here with my natural hair. I was really upset about that. But the night of, and my hair was just out, like just no gel, no slick back, just out. And I was really feeling not confident. It made me was very nervous about what I was gonna perform, very stumbling on my speeches. It threw my whole mood off. And she spoke to me, she was like, listen, it goes with the theme of what you have to. I was like, team, what's she talking about? I was like, okay, whatever. So I just put it over my head and I made it a mission to go there and just forget about what my hair looked like and do what I have to do. And in the end, it went along with the team, and I ended up, when I was successful in the pageant, they put the crown on my natural hair and all these pieces sticking out, but I really didn't care. I still felt proud because through it all, I accomplished the win with my natural hair out and was just living. So that was a moment where I felt proud of it, for sure, yeah.
For me, when I was going through the process of reverting back to my natural hair, I remember I saw a lot of videos of women with their natural afros, and I was like, I would love to have a natural afro just as big and puffy and just as curly. And I remember I did like a lot of research. I bought a lot of products. I spent a lot of money on like gels to make your hair curly, and there's a lot of things. And I remember when I first tried out an afro, it was a lot of trial and tribulation. It did not come out all that good, but I still felt proud because I was like, wow, this is my natural hair, and I could do so many things with it. I could put into afro puffs. I remember one time I tried like bantu knots, and that bantu knots were like the rest of my hair let down. And that I went for like a week, and I felt so happy with my hair. I felt so proud. I also got a lot of compliments, so that was like a plus too. But I just generally felt like so proud of my hair. Like, this is all the things I could do with my hair, and I could do like so much more. It requires like a lot of patience, but it's worth it in the end.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurance.
MP Egbert Doran gives his view on the Melissa Gums, Minister of Education, on the deliberation on the current state of operational and sanitary conditions in public schools, in a public meeting of Parliament on March 9th, 2026.
Also through you, Madam Chair, can the Minister give Parliament a full status update of every public school and what each school currently has, what it's lacking, and what is being done to address those gaps? Because if this is an isolated case, that's one thing, but if it's broader, I think we need to know honestly how we can handle it to move forward. I heard the Minister mention that in the last 2 weeks, things have been delivered to certain schools. I mean, the Minister didn't specify, but I can say when we had a meeting that same day, after speaking about the shortages with the toilet paper, the soap, and all those things, the Minister found a way to go by certain schools and deliver that same day. So therefore, my question to you, through you, Madam Chair, is why does the bell need to ring before we act on these basic things? That's my second question. How are schools currently reporting shortages to the ministry? Is there a formal sort of a reporting system? I know the Minister just mentioned that sometimes the schools send the request late. I would like to have that verified because, again, as I started off, I mentioned now it's the school fault that the school don't have the supplies if I have to listen to that presentation. Is that really so? And maybe can 2 examples be given to substantiate that claim, whether it's emails or whether it's be shared through the confidential route? Because then a lot of things would be clear if that is indeed the case. When a school runs out of something as basic as, for instance, toilet paper or disinfectant, what is the response time from the ministry? Are there minimum stock level requirements per school? And if so, are they being monitored adequately? Because sanitation, Madam Chair, to me, it's not optional. Especially in a post-pandemic world, we cannot afford to be casual about hygiene standards. Madam Chair, through you, I would like to know, are there any active supply contracts in place right now for the sanitation and the cleaning materials? Have any of those contracts expired or lapsed? Are there any outstanding invoices to suppliers that could be affecting deliveries? Has inflation affected the purchasing power of the allocated school budgets? And if so, will they be adjusted to match the current reality? Because if costs went up, but allocations stayed the same, then we're setting schools up for a shortfall. Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to talk about the instruction in terms of the class and the lessons the teachers have to give. What is the current status of the printers and copy machines across the public schools? How many are currently non-functional? Is there active maintenance contract in place, or are the schools left to manage these repairs individually? Because if there's no ink, no paper, or broken machines, teachers cannot print the lesson material, which is also a complaint that I've been receiving. That affects daily instruction. It affects the testing, and it affects preparation. And Madam Chair, as I mentioned, this is nothing new, because we've always had issues when it comes to shortages in the past. However, there was not such a clear-cut instruction from those in charge that nobody is allowed to assist. Madam Chair, the way the government is behaving right now, there's even parents that have to hustle and hide to supply products to schools as if they're doing something illegal. And I think that that is what triggered this meeting, and I would like to get some clarity on that with respect to the so-called policy. I would like to know through you, Madam Chair, from the Minister, Minister, don't you trust your school managers enough in order for them to use their discretion as to who's allowed to come into schools, who's allowed to give certain donations and different things, school supplies, water in certain instances, and sanitary items? Don't you trust your department heads to be able to use their discretionary action in order to acquire those things once they are, being donated? Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to know, is the ministry aware that some teachers may feel now the pressure personally to cover printing needs or costs and also sanitary items? Is the ministry aware? Does the ministry consider that part of the expected role of an educator? Madam Chair, I would like to now widen the lens a bit. What is the overall physical conditions of our public schools and buildings right now? Which schools require urgent repair according to the ministry? What are the timelines for those repairs? Are any schools currently operating in what could be reasonably described as a deteriorating or substandard physical condition? If so, which schools? Because, Madam Chair, I did my own research before reaching to this point, and I could say clearly, the parents see it, the teachers see it, the students see it, so I don't think that the ministry isn't seeing it. It is being said, Madam Chair, that the ministry is currently restricting and refusing assistance from individuals, as I mentioned, and businesses who are willing to support said schools, whether through donating goods or helping with repairs or even sponsoring needed items. Is it true that willing contributors are being turned away or significantly delayed because of stricter enforcement of the famous, infamous donation policy? What is exactly the ministry's current position on public assistance to schools? Because I've seen a barrage of articles come out last week. Schools will not be used as a political football, et cetera, et cetera. And I just want some clarity on that. What is the minister's view on public assistance for schools?
On Friday, March 6th, Minister of Justice Natalie M. Tackling officially swore in a group of local correctional officers together with 14 correctional officers from Suriname, marking an important step in strengthening operational capacity at Point Blanche Prison. During the ceremony, Minister Tackling acknowledged that the swearing-in of several local officers had been long overdue and offered an apology on behalf of the ministry for the delay in completing the process. She thanked the officers for their patience and reaffirmed that correctional staff remain key partners in strengthening the country's prison system. Addressing the officers, Minister Tackling emphasized the importance of integrity and professionalism within the correctional environment and recognized the demanding nature of the work carried out daily inside the facility. She noted that correctional officers play a vital role not only in maintaining order and safety, but also in supporting the broader goal of rehabilitation within the justice system. Correctional officers are not only responsible for maintaining safety and order. They are also mentors, guides, and part of the broader rehabilitation process. The goal of our detention system is to ensure that those who eventually return to society are better prepared to reintegrate.
Now for the weather forecast. Tonight, cloudy and breezy with isolated showers. Wednesday, partly cloudy and breezy with brief isolated showers, likely surface winds. Tonight through Wednesday evening, easterly with a gentle to a fresh breeze at 10 to 18 EMPROS and possibly higher gusts. State of the sea, slight to moderate waves, swells 3 to 6 feet. Outlook through Thursday evening, partly cloudy with brief showers likely. And now your 3-day forecast.
Your social and health insurances. Your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances.
Island Gems Charity Foundation has donated an augmentative and alternative communication AAC device and a new rice cooker to the 721 Kids Foundation, supporting the daily needs and development of differently abled students in the program. 721 Kids Foundation has been serving children with diverse learning and developmental needs on St. Martin for approximately 10 years. The organization supports around 50 students and provides specialized care and education for children with conditions including ADHD, autism, Down syndrome, intellectual disabilities, and dyslexia. A key part of the donation is an AAC device, a communication tool designed for students who have difficulty with verbal speech. Using pictures, symbols, or voice output, The device allows students to express their needs, participate more fully in lessons, and engage during speech therapy sessions. For many children, such tools can significantly improve their ability to communicate and interact with others. Island Gems also donated a new rice cooker for the program. The appliance replaces a unit that had stopped working and is used to prepare daily lunches for students, allowing the foundation to continue providing warm, nutritious meals for the children. The donation was formally presented in the presence of representatives from both organizations. Charisse Rampajan, Assistant Secretary of Island Gems, together with members Anu Amanane and Jody Rosen, attended on behalf of the foundation. Representing 721 Kids Foundation were Managing Director Tamara Shalland and Esther Simmons. Rosen noted that supporting organizations that serve differently abled children is an important part of Island Gems' community work. CNN News Report. Meanwhile, a new video shows a fighter jet firing a missile at a drone over a beach in Dubai. The drone looked similar to an Iranian Shahed. More than 1,100 missiles and drones have been fired toward the United Arab Emirates since the war began, according to the country's defense ministry, with over 90% of them having been downed by interceptors, fighter jets, and helicopters.
Israel is launching a broad wave of strikes on Iran. Officials there say air defense systems at Israel's northern border intercepted a number of rockets fired by the Iran-backed group Hezbollah. We also know the Israeli military is carrying out what are described as targeted ground raids across that border into southern Lebanon. CNN Chief International Security Correspondent Nick Payton-Walsh is live in Tel Aviv. He's joining us right now. He's done extensive reporting on Israel's operation against Hezbollah in Lebanon. What are you learning today, Nick?
As you said, Wolf, it appears that we're in a slightly different phase here, where Israel is now referring to its targeted ground raids inside southern Lebanon. We only knew of two as of yesterday, one in the Bekaa Valley and one in southern Lebanon. Each time they're looking for commanders, specific facilities, but the notion of this plural now, not much other detail suggesting that the Israelis have, from what I could see when we were up on the northern border yesterday, lacking the substantial numbers of troops that we could see publicly for a major ground invasion, are instead taking out specific targets. Now, that may suggest a sort of smart approach, so to speak, where they're looking to hit particular things rather than occupy a huge amount of territory and take casualties potentially with that. And at the same time, too, persistent airstrikes. When we were up there 48 hours ago, the noise is relentless, as indeed too can be the Hezbollah rocket barrages back off in some of the towns there, with very little siren warning between siren and actual impact or interception. But this particular part of Israel's war in the region here, something of a different chapter, you might argue, than the relentless strikes we've been seeing over Iran. Southern Beirut hit again as well, and indeed the IDF putting out another repeat warning, ultimately reiterating to people to get away from the southern part of Lebanon below the Litani River and certain districts of southern Beirut. But their strikes against Iran, announcing another wave today, as you said. And clearly, I think one interesting element of the Pentagon briefing was to hear Joint Chief of Staff General Dan Kane refer to the third part of the goals here that have been elucidated by the White House and by Hegseth during that particular press conference as taking out the missiles, the Navy, and preventing Iran from having a nuclear weapon. General Kane went a little bit further, talking about how they would be targeting the military-industrial complex in Iran, the ability for Iran to make the things that cause the problem to the United States and its allies in the region. I think that is a difference that obviously will be very tethered to the reality of what the US target lists indeed are now, and the intensity of the strikes that our colleagues have been reporting in Tehran, that residents said in Tehran kept them up all night. Well, I should also remind people, the latest death toll we have from a human rights group based in the United States is over 1,200 killed in these strikes as well. So ferocity there, certainly, and enormous ambiguity.
This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.